YOLK is back. YOLK is back. YOLK is back. YOLK is back.
Generation Next.
YOLK is back.
YOLK is back.
Welcome to YOLK.
YOLK is back.
Welcome to the OG YOLK Podcast. We're working it out with the Generation Next because we don't want to close off of any minority. We support all minorities. And so I have OSRIC CHAU, and he is film and TV actor of so many shows for years. I mean, decades of careers. Supernatural, I guess you get picked on for that one a lot.
Yeah.
Star Trek Discovery, I saw that you're in one of the Star
Star Trek,
Stars,
yeah.
Star Trek. You're almost there. You're almost there with the
You
Star.
might not recognize me, but I'm there.
Right. And then you also produce, but the more major thing that you did was you became one of the first Asian leading men in a Hallmark film. No, like I did a full
Review?
review of you of all your work in the last 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
All
I
right.
already know your work from Legends of Tomorrow and Flash and stuff because I'm a superhero freak fan. But I notice your choices have gravitated toward more meaningful drama. No offense to any superhero fans, but like more realistic touch, more tangible things that people can really feel what you're about. And you kind of went beyond the superhero canon and to be a real person in a fictional story. And so I watched you won't believe. Okay, Osric. Thank you. I always like to clap all the people who come to our show. Thank you very much. And let's start with one of the things I'm going to ask you is when you started 2002, before that, you were a martial artist first and wanted to stunt. How did you go? Um, how did you even start going, I want to be a martial artist? That's a serious, did your parents make you for self-defense?
No, I grew up watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers, all the anime, Jackie Chan, Jet Li movies. Those were my big influences growing up. And so naturally I wanted to be that, whatever that might mean. I didn't even know. But eventually my parents found a, kung fu class, got enrolled, became obsessed because I just wanted to fight. And little did I know at the time it was a very performative martial art. There was no combat aspect to it. And I learned how to make action look pretty, because it was Wushu and it was all about what it looked like. And one thing led to another. Eventually, I got my first acting opportunity because of my martial arts abilities. But yeah, I got really good, and I wanted to teach, and I enjoyed coaching. Even, as a student, I enjoyed coaching the other kids. So it was always something that I thought I was gonna do, and then, acting kind of just took over.
When you said you started doing the martial arts, did you think that it could be a job in the beginning besides
No,
teaching? Oh, okay.
no.
So,
I mean, I was like 13. I was still in high school. I wasn't.
dude, they still do child labor sometimes. And
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about career at that point. I'm just thinking I want to get really good at this thing. I want to be the best in the world. I was very ambitious, but beyond that, I didn't really think too much.
so you started martial arts at 13.
Yeah.
So the
And I
people.
was fighting my brothers and my
Mm,
and kids at school like way before that.
mm.
So this was just the first place where it was like, okay, here's some structure, here's some, discipline, and then channel it into something. And yeah, me and my younger brother, we both got pretty obsessed really quickly.
Did you win after that, after your training? Did you win those fights now?
Um, Funny thing is, like, even though it was a performative martial art, the
Yeah.
conditioning that we went through made us very strong, and there came this confidence in me that had me stop fighting because I'm like,
I love
what's the
that. Yeah.
And up until then, I just felt like I had something to prove. And so I went out of my way to fight everybody. And then once I started training, I'm like, oh, there's no point. So that
That's
was,
really mature for you at that age to learn that,
I
actually.
think it's anyone that like, if you're training something and you put so much time into it and you can kind of understand the nuances, like you start to realize your own strength and, your own ability. And, at a certain point, you're going against kids that aren't training in anything. So it's like, okay, well, and again, I didn't think of it at the time. Like, I know I'm stronger, I know I'm faster than them, the technical skill aside. So why would I do that? Am I just looking for people to pick on at that point? You just have all these questions that come up.
Oh yeah, it's not a fair fight, which is
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, very good. Uh, Not like you need my validation. I'm just saying it's good. When you did the after the martial arts and you went into the acting with the Kung Fu Killer, right?
Mhm.
David
Yep.
Carradine. Um, I we how do I say this? So do you know the level of filming that you go into when you said yes to the project? Did you have an agent or did you just they found you?
I had an agent, and I mean, that was my first big role. So I was, I don't know if I had confidence as an actor yet. I don't think I thought much of acting. It was just like, oh, you just go in there and you pretend to be a character and, like very rudimentary understanding of it. But, in a very fortunate position to be in a leading role. So I had an agent. Still, it's my manager today. It's the same person.
That's
Um, and when he found out that I could do martial arts, when I knew kung fu and all that, he essentially got me that job within a couple of months, right?
wow.
It was something that I did. It
Mm.
was my focus, but he didn't know me as that. He just knew me as this kid that was kind of acting, right? And so when he found out that I could do all the martial arts stuff, that's when things really started happening for me.
Mm. And you did you have to audition for him to get that manager or agent? I'm sorry, agent.
I've had him since I was 9 years old. So it was something that I've had for a long time. And at the time, he had started his agency. And so, throughout my school years, I was a terrible client. I was a terrible actor, but he was so new. He had a bunch of people. And so, I never got dropped as a client. And then by the time I was old enough to take it seriously, he also started taking it seriously and he like cut like 100 clients. And I just made the cut because I just booked Kung Fu Killer. So
Oh my God.
it
Uh-huh.
was just one of those things that like really worked out to my favor that, timing was right. I had an agent that was in the right place for me. And when I was ready, they were also ready to take that jump. So yeah, a lot of fortunate situations.
Yeah, that's a sign. When you said you did there's Google and everybody where I'm researching you, and they said that you like doing your own stunts. Is I'm just jumping far into the future. That does that mean your insurance is as bond is as bad as Jackie Chan's?
No, I wish. No, I mean, look, I'm a working actor is what you call it. I make a living acting, but I wouldn't call myself a star or anything.
Mm.
There's there's a certain number of stunts that I can do. The older I get, the less it is as well. But the stunt performers are so good. You just want to let them do their job. I can sell a stunt.
Right.
Insurance. I'm If I was Tom Cruise, maybe that'd be another story. But even then, just let the stunt performers do their thing. Um, Insurance won't cover you or most actors for doing most things. So, you do what you can. Most of the stuff I do is the finesse stuff anyways, so I'm not going to be like jumping out of buildings or exploding vehicles or anything.
Mm.
But the characters that I've played it just hasn't needed much stunt work anyways.
Mm.
So, yeah, I guess I never came across as someone that would play those types of roles. So I think at a certain point, I would like to do one still before I get fully too old and broken to do it. But until then, I've actually been very happy with the types of characters I've gotten to play because it's really pushed me in another direction, which wasn't a strength until now.
Mm. I think since John Wick, Keanu Reeves is doing at 60, I think you have a few more years to go.
Yeah, probably.
Right, right? Like just 20 more years. Knock on wood. And so I wanted to talk to you about also your amazing, we'll just get that out of the way, the super fan stuff that I love, which is Flash, Green Arrow, all the CW, Legends of Tomorrow. I watched that because of the comedic chemistry that everybody has on all the cast. Like I I should point out the CW casting director, but I don't I didn't look it up. So because I'm not right, I'm not interviewing her, but
David Rappaport.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So amazing. He's so is so good. And the fact that you guys have to do the Crisis Infinite Earths, I believe, cross on Infinite Earths, right? That's crazy to go from different TV shows to meet in the same place with a common goal,
Yep.
and even I love about those shows is that they're enemies and then they turn out to be your frenemy, so they end up fighting with you for the common goal to show the unity of what crisis makes people change and redeem themselves and also change you to be your role as Ryan Choi. It could be like you kind of acted a little bit like, oh, I don't want to help. I got my family and all that. Why are you guys making me sacrifice my family? And then you're like, okay, I'm gonna help so my daughter or child can have a better future. It's amazing. So you also had to wear the tights. So now you are the one of the few Asians, I didn't even know how many, who can wear the spandex for a superhero uniform. How did you accept that? And that was
I
before, yeah. Go
When
ahead.
I found out about the spandex, I was very excited. It took a like over a month of fittings. You know, it's a very expensive suit. They probably spent like 150 grand on like creating one of those. Like it's such an expensive process and the workmanship that they put into it is substantial. That being said, it feels like you're wearing a giant like sturdy condom. Like you can't really
Yeah,
move.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I bent over and then I just like spring back up.
Uh-huh.
So it's not the most comfortable, but you know, I only got to wear it the one day, unfortunately. So it
Oh,
yeah, it wasn't that big of a thing for me, and you know, because the shows just started like ending after that. But it was still a great experience, and I mean, my connection to Ryan Choi is, I think, is my favorite part of that because I actually tried developing a Ryan Choi thing like 10 years before that. So early on, after starting on Supernatural, the comic came out. I read it, loved it, and I approached Ben Edlund, who created my character on Supernatural. He comes from the world of comic books. He created The Tick, and you
oh,
know, I
yeah,
asked
that
him.
is a funny show. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
I asked him like, hey, like what are the chances of like doing something with this? And he was interested and you know, he took it to the CW and they basically said like we already have plans for it. And so it couldn't happen, but even until that point, like I reached out to the comic book writer, Gail Simone, who created Ryan Choi, and she was like, you're exactly how I imagined Ryan, you know, and like we talked about developing this thing
Mhm.
and then, you know, it couldn't happen. But then 10 years later, when I got the audition, you know, it was under a fake name. And I'm like, this looks so familiar. And, you know, I brought it up to my friend who was developing the show with me. His name's Eric Sturpey. He's a video game writer now. But he was helping me run the lines and we're like, hey, this might be Ryan Choi. I'm like, I think you're right. You know, and so in the audition, I did the audition, and at the very end of the audition, I'm like, hey, is this Ryan Choi? And you could just see all of them in the room, like, what, who told you this? And I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. And then I just walked off. But I think that helped get the job for me.
They're thinking you're so initiative is that you even know what show you're auditioning for.
Yeah. Yeah. reading was in the writing, so we figured it out.
So you're a comic book fan already before you even
Yeah,
start.
of
Wow.
course.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, my husband got me into that, and my older brother did too. Comic books, but I don't know it the way you guys know it, the lingo and stuff. I'm just an audience fan of all the X-Men's, Wonder Woman, I mean both sides, DC, Marvel, right? So,
Yeah.
with you, w- out of all, if you could, if with your superhero and all the TV experience, if you had a role that you wanted from out of the superhero, because no offense to anybody, it's mostly Caucasians, but it's just a fictional superhero, right? So if you could be one of the superheroes and make it yours, we won't say Asian, but which one would it be?
Um, well, actually, th there are BIPOC superheroes that are coming out.
Mm.
And the one that I would want, and it'd be the same if it were just like the normal one, but it's the Incredible Hulk, which is now an Asian character, Amadeus Cho. Uh, that's the one I would want to play. He's super fun.
Amadeus Cho. That's so funny because you already played a scientist, so you have that background, and then you can totally with I mean that's the incredible Amadeus Cho is a scientist, right? Still.
He's still one of the smartest people in the universe, but he loves being the Hulk. That's the difference. Like Bruce Banner doesn't. Amadeus Cho, he embraces it and he's very funny and yeah, he's a fun character.
Okay, let's put it out there. The universe. Uh Amadeus Cho for OSRIC Chow. Let's do a quick small bio of you of why your name is OSRIC, which is I've never seen it, never heard it, I don't know anybody with it. And Chow, which I thought was freaking Vietnamese, and now I learned it's like Malaysian too. So,
It's spelled Vietnamese. The Chow family, my dad, he's got like seven siblings. Everyone spells it a little bit different.
oh,
So it's like AU is us, but there's AO, OU, OW, all sorts of spellings. And my dad went with AU. I don't know why. I don't remember them explaining it, but that's just how they did it.
mm-hmm.
And then Osric, I have never met another Osric. I know they're out there, but I've never met one in person, and I will probably freak out when that happens someday. But yeah, I'm almost 40 years old and I've never met another Osric face to face, which
Yeah.
still blows my mind that I haven't. But yeah,
How does kids say your name back in the day when they?
they said ostrich. They said,
Uh,
kids are mean. They say everything but your name.
okay, I was gonna say like it's not easy. I'm
Wizard of Oz. I had so many nicknames growing up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do they call you Ozzy too? Like
Yeah,
they
Oz, Ozzy. Yeah.
so uh well one more thing about the Crisis on Infinite Earths. You get to do a narration of one episode, Paragons. And I've never since I'm from Virginia, I was late in the game with Hollywood, but I totally couldn't believe that there's in America, there's a actor who would do a whole narration of a whole episode. And it was amazing. It was just listening. So is that what you got you into voiceover from that experience? Because you also do some voiceover.
Unrelated. I
Okay.
was just fortunate to do the thing. I got into the voiceover world because of my video game writer friend.
Mm,
Uh, so he was writing on a video game. I can't remember which one now. But he he wrote a character for me. And but he, due to politics and all that, he couldn't just like put me in it. But he put in the casting.
mm.
Um, the reference is like OSRIC CHAU, right? He just put my
That's so
name as
funny.
a reference.
So funny.
And,
Uh-huh.
and so I had a bunch of friends audition for it, and one of them's like, "Hey, you're the reference for this character. Do you want to like audition for it? I can just ask my reps for the voiceover stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And so I auditioned for it through his agent, and I was second choice. I didn't
Oh,
get it because
oh my God, your second
I
choice
know.
of the OSRIC CHOU reference.
I know. Well, my friend couldn't like it wasn't his choice to make, but
Hobby.
basically the other guy, he's like a voiceover legend. He's done like 200 plus projects, and I had done zero. So I'm like, I get it. Like, just use the guy. But it got me my voiceover agent, and so I started getting opportunities to do like the voice stuff, which is super fun when you get a chance to do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And when you do voiceover, I know that others like The Simpsons and stuff, they have to do like 3 to 5 voices. Do you have to do that? Like do more than one, or you just play one voice?
It depends on the show. Most
Mhm.
of the time they make you do a couple and just,
Mhm.
it's easy enough. It's cheaper for them for sure, and I'm not the best at voices yet. Like I can do my voice. I can do
Yeah,
variations
yeah.
of my voice. But yeah, usually they'll have you do like a couple of minor characters or like background voices
Mhm.
that it doesn't really need to be too distinct.
Copy. That's so funny about that your story. I can't imagine someone else playing you. Like,
I mean,
you
it wasn't me, but he just
yeah,
used me
yeah.
as the
Yeah,
yeah.
reference. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was a great narration, good writing. I love CW's hero shows. So let's go to your Wing Chun, and you did that for 8 years. Uh, this gentleman, and you studied Wushu too. So
Mhm.
Zhang Zibing, yeah. So you had
John.
you had only one Sifu?
I had two. He
Okay.
was the first one that got me into everything. And this is for Wushu, and then I trained under Bruce Fontaine, who's a film director now. Funnily enough.
Oh my God, one of your masters is a director? That's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh
he
my
just
God.
finished the second movie.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that, the trailer. Is that
yeah,
the
and Bruce was a big part of pulling a lot of us into the film industry because a lot of the stunt performers in Vancouver or in Canada, a lot of the Asian ones went through his school. So they all trained under him in Wushu, and now they're like the coordinators and stuff. So it's cool to like when I get to work with like on a show with the stunt crew, like a lot of them I already know just through my training.
that's he basically created his own employment office,
Uh,
recruiting.
yeah, I mean, he didn't benefit off of it too much back in the
Yeah,
day, but
yeah.
we're all very happy for him to be directing. When he did his first movie, we all jumped in and helped out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh, so Bruce Fontaine, is that the one with the Superhost, or was it the one that no, it was
No, he did a movie called Beyond
yeah,
Redemption.
that's it. Okay, I
Yeah.
mixed
It's
up.
not, I mean, it's not the best movie, but we all like again, we all love Bruce and we all want to help out.
Uh,
Uh, but it did well enough that he could do his second movie. So
right.
that's a good thing.
Well, he directors have to pay their dues too.
Yeah.
They the fact that he gets a second option, just like actors get their second options of, even if you say not you particularly, but somebody who actor who did a B movie and then they get a chance to do another movie that's not B. It's all work. You guys are just working, and that's my job to find work for actors too. It's yeah, can't be too picky, but it has to be the right role for the right person. When you you're Canadian. Um, how old were you when you jumped from Malaysia? Oh, did you always you were born in Canada, and you just stayed? Okay. So
I was born in Canada. I lived in China for a couple of years, and then I lived in LA for like 10 years.
oh wow, okay. And you left LA because of the beautiful.
Pandemic.
Oh, right. No, I was
Like
gonna
parents are
say,
getting old. I have nephews and a niece now. I want to spend time with my family, so it didn't make sense to be in LA. Like everything is self-taped nowadays anyways, so I'm just wherever I need to be, but the home base closer to the family is where I'm at.
so you've done like, I don't know, I didn't count because I have glasses. You know, when you count on the IMDb, but it's like 90 so projects. I don't know how many projects you've done, okay?
I don't keep track anymore.
Yeah, I know, of course. And the fact that you are willing to still self-tape for anyone, that's really um I think it's kind of humble of you to do that. Uh and not ask for some agents, sometimes they always go, oh, my actor has to be an
Oh,
offer.
only.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's sometimes, right?
Yeah.
I've done enough things that most auditions, like, look, I have like 10 of those. Like, just look at one of them, and if you don't think I'm the right fit, just don't bother. But if it's something completely new, like I want to self-tape. I want to make sure, like, I want to dive in and play around with that world, that character. So like sometimes I want to self-tape. I actually really enjoy self-taping. But if it's like a guest star on some show and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like I shouldn't need to prove that I can do that by now. So if you really can't figure it out, then maybe I'm not the right person.
Right, right.
But it's also like so competitive and directors, sometimes, you know, our look changes, we grow. Whatever the reason, like they just want to see what we do with the material. So like I understand that. Um, but thankfully I do enjoy self-taping, so it's not a big deal for me. Sometimes when I'm traveling, it's a little bit less convenient, but that's usually the only reason why I turn down self-taping is if I literally can't. I'm like, okay, I can't do it, so please just offer only or I just can't.
Yeah. And when you do the self-tape, you do you for the actors out there watching, do you do the what do you call that thing? The ring light and stuff? Like, do you do that? Because you have a
Depends on
really
where
good
you are.
collection. You look really good right now, and I don't know, like
Oh, no, I got a desk lamp. I have like a mini studio upstairs.
hobby.
Uh, I have a ring light. I got like soft boxes, but like if I'm in a hotel room, like you just make do with what you have. Like you don't want to put too much emphasis on the technical stuff necessarily. Like if you can, great, but it shouldn't be your focus, right? Like they just need to be able to see and hear you clearly. And so
Hobby.
if you can show your essence in this character and it's clear and it doesn't feel like you're cheating them out, or tricking someone into believing that you can do more than you can, then that's really like at the end of the day, they're not hiring you for your technical prowess. You know,
Yeah.
they're hiring you for whatever energy you're bringing to this character.
I like the way you said you're not cheating the viewers. I think that's a good everything. People use this word a lot, authentic and stuff, but it's really helpful for the casting people to show the best work for actors to producers and directors. Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I think there's definitely merit to knowing some technical things because if you have something that's distracting, well, now they're not watching your performance. They're looking at that red whatever on the screen. Like
okay.
don't have any distractions. If you're playing around with lenses and it warps how you look, obviously that'll affect it. So you just need like something plain enough that isn't distracting and yeah, just a playground that allows them to focus on you and your performance, nothing else.
Right. I uh, I'll tell you this quickly. I saw a taping, a self tape someone sent me, and this person was like probably 100 feet away acting. Like, if you're, because you're producing, can imagine when
Yeah.
I wish I could send it to somebody, because it's so funny, but you can't send that because then it wastes the time of the director to even look at it. But for me, I view all of it and I saw this person really far and I literally did it anyways because I like to the whole process. So I literally look close to see the
Use it.
just to humor myself. But uh, when you did Supernatural, that's one of your landmark shows that you really committed to for what, 10 years or like a
I mean,
long.
it was about 10 years in length, but I was only in 3 or 6 of those seasons.
Wow. Okay. Well, being a prophet, which is cool, but you had Kevin Tran. Tran, I think that's a Vietnamese name. So did you? It was okay. Thank you.
Kevin was a full Vietnamese
Oh,
character.
yay. Okay. So that was quite you had some stunts where that guy's choking you. And then you had like uh your cool scene where you talk to this military person and you showed because hackers in maybe real life does not really reveal themselves. But you literally hacked something and in the show, and you said you hacked it, and it was so good. The dialogue for that was amazing. Um, which character do you feel better comfortable with, or do you feel like challenged if you play a really badass character or something more vulnerable, or do you mix it up?
Um, I mean, like to me, it's always like ba playing a badass character is, it's you are your actions, right? So like what does being badass means? Like, are you someone that's just putting on the front as badass? Like, I would say that's a little bit difficult. Whereas like if you're a character that does badass things and then it's effortless, right? Vulnerabilities are a little bit harder because you have less to work with, right? What are the actions that show your vulnerabilities? This is where, you as an actor have to make these choices in terms of like what I do with my hands, what I do with my eyes, what I do with my face, and all of those things should depict that vulnerability and it'll depending on the director and the size of the shot and what they're actually looking at, you have opportunities to do different things. And as an actor, you have to make the right choices in order to get that across. Otherwise, you're just relying on the dialogue and those big beats, and that's not always enough if they're not necessarily looking for those moments. So if it's not a point of focus, then you only have little opportunities to get like the arc that you're hoping for as an actor. So I think the subtleties are always going to be a little bit harder just because you have less to work with, and it's just finer details. So I would say that is more difficult. But usually it'll depend on the filmmaking team. Does the director, have your back in trying to help you get it, like make things happen? Or are you, are they trying to do something completely different and you're like, okay, but my character has to do this. And so there's no help at all. Right. So it really depends on the situation. Like at the end of the day, it's a collaborative process. And if people are working with you, then it's really easy. And if they're not, then it becomes a lot harder.
Yeah, I that scene was pretty good because you showed the I guess the indecisiveness in the beginning, and then once she said her name, you're like, and it's
Yeah. I mean, and that's all on the writing, right? Like the
yeah.
writing team did such a great job and and the directors and the crew, like it was such a long running show at that point that everyone just kind of knew what to do. So it was very easy.
Yeah, and it's really hard to write more material for a long running show. It's to keep
I mean, it becomes like The Simpsons, right? Like what do we do
yeah,
next? We've done like
yeah.
everything.
Other thing is, okay, the sci-fi stuff, which is supernatural sci-fi too, fantasy too. But you did Star Trek one episode, but that kind of is a gateway for you to do any stars, Star Wars, hopefully, because once I think even one of my friends does Star Wars Resistance. I think
Mhm.
I think that was the title of the show. Sorry. But basically if he does voiceover, and then when I think I told him you're gonna eventually get to the live action Star Wars because you're already in the gate. You're at the party. You might be in the bathroom somewhere, but you're at the location. And so I feel like you're getting closer to all those things, and you're still young enough to do it. So I look forward to you being in the Star Wars series. It's got so many, Mandalorian, Boba Fett. I mean, so many. We have how would you do that and not just be a Starship Trooper? Would you? wi-
I mean, between Star Wars and Star Trek, I mean, I'm definitely more of a Trekkie.
Mm.
And obviously I was in Discovery already. And
Yeah.
they have some, they have Strange New World. They have
Yeah.
so many incredible series as well.
Mhm.
So I do hope to come back to the Star Trek universe because I was a full-on alien, and so I could, right? Because I'm not my face isn't established, which is nice.
I know
Star
you.
Wars would be really cool too. I would not be against that at all. Hopefully they have some more Asian faces in their future projects.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't kill off the Asians in a sci-fi because they're the ones who save the world. Um, so one of the things I saw you do, I watched, I'm a romantic comedy, cheesy fan. So, Hallmark does a lot of Christmas movies, and you're able to be one of the leading actors, the star. So, how do they approach you when they say, We want you to be our actor for a Hallmark movie?" And then they even brought you into, I'm sorry, I think Holidays is after, but you did Christmas at the Golden Dragon
Yeah,
and then Holidays.
actually, that's a
What?
good question. I can't remember if Holidays was an offer
Hmm.
because I had done Christmas at the Golden
Yeah.
Dragon. Christmas at the Golden Dragon. I can't remember if I auditioned for that or not. Like um it was a first like for Hallmark as like first Asian
Absolutely. Yeah.
and stuff. So I don't know. Let's see. See a chat.
You literally, OSRIC, literally is the pioneer and you never think that because you're not trying to be a pioneer. I think most actors just want to work, supposedly, or be a
Yep.
star. This is one of those two, right? But you pioneered for the Hallmark channel to be in because I always complained about that. I was like, oh man, there's no other people of Asian or anything that, and I'm glad that
Yeah, and
you
it wasn't, yeah, again, it wasn't planned. You're right. I'm not planning to be a pioneer. I just happen to do stuff at, you know, first, I guess. But the goal is to make sure that, there are more opportunities later on for, not just for me, but for other people because, you know, I honestly, I'm only a pioneer because I'm too stupid to know not to try, even though it's never happened before. Like that's the only reason. Like if I had even a little bit of foresight
Uh-huh.
uh, at any point in my career, I might not have tried to because it didn't exist,
Mm.
right? Asian actors in when I started as an actor, I couldn't even name an Asian actor that had a career as an actor beyond like Jackie Chan, Jet Li, right? So it didn't really make sense for me to pursue this as a career, but I wasn't thinking about that. I just did it. Also, sorry, I'm looking through my email right now. I
Yeah.
did audition for Christmas at the Golden Dragon. Yeah. So
I think that's a small achievement already to get
yeah.
that, with the um just them choosing and casting call a bunch of Asians and then you got it. It's like crazy. Did you already know how to cook?
No, I still don't. So that's the acting part coming in. I just pretend and I move things around with intent. Uh,
Copy, copy,
that's
copy.
all I do.
Yeah, and they brought some of the actors back to Holidays, which is a series, and I thought that's kind of cute the way they. It's just like we're talking about George Lee. It's one of my friends too. Um,
Um,
with the way it's like the Love Actually formula, where you bring all these stories together and have people connect, multiple stories and have people connect with the stories, and that's really hard. That's like I don't know, Scrabble or something. You got to like map it out
yeah.
and connect people. And I find that holidays, uh, it was interesting because it happened. God, it was. I think it happened doing the either the same time on. We have volunteers. So I don't have a researcher. But the Bo and Yang movie where they did. Oh yeah, actually it was a movie back in the day about
Which one?
two gay couples, a gay couple who wants to marry, but then they had to lie about their thing. I'm
The
blanking.
Wedding Banquet?
Yes, yes, wedding banquet. So that's almost like that, right? A lot of holidays has a wedding banquet theme, thematic story. And I thought, and oh my God, the actress, that legendary actress, I just looked her up. Let me see what's like, she
Uh-huh.
is that lady actress is so
Oh,
amazing. Kang,
oh,
Kang
King Hua. King Hua.
Kang Tan. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, King's great.
Yeah, I love how they age everybody because they got to make them look older than they are. 'Cause, um,
I think
I
that was the oldest I've ever played, I
what?
think.
Oh yeah.
In Worth the Wait. That's the oldest I've ever played.
Oh,
My
that
own
one. Yes.
age.
Yeah.
I got to play my own age.
Yeah. Okay. Let me tell you, one of those things I heard you watching your movies like yesterday was um, the fact that it makes you, maybe it's because I'm a little softy, but I'm one of those audience members that people should love because I laugh and cry and whatever else
You
emoting.
emote. Good. You react.
So it
Good. Yes,
was,
absolutely.
oh my God, it was just all day of crying because I was crying when you were in the um, Golden Dragon. I was crying when you were in the holidays because of and Worth the Wait. It just keeps going because the music and the story and the acting collided to make it have emotional value. And I love the fact that you had Worth the Wait, which is the tough subject that probably Asians don't really talk about anyways,
We
and
do
it's
not.
fertility, infertility. And when you guys did it, the scene where the grief counseling, and then that it was just, I'm actually surprised George did that because he usually does horror films and stuff, right? So I was like, wow. And I'm interviewing him on Tuesday with a friend of his. So- but it's just, it was made me cry so much that on all levels of, because uh, our family tried to have a kid too. So it's, how do you bring something like that to such a heavy scene? Um,
Well, I mean, I did a lot of research. I'm not a dad, but I have brothers who both have kids, and in talking to them, it came up that they had gone through miscarriages, and they didn't really talk about it because they didn't, it was such a personal thing, and they didn't, there's a lot of shame attached to it, and they really helped me kind of find an angle to kind of approach it at. And then the director, Tom, he was so lovely to work with. He really gave the space and, just nudged me in the right directions. But yeah, it was a lot of learning for that character, just because I have so little experience um, with those kinds of situations and just with kids and loss and all that stuff. So yeah, this was probably one of the more challenging roles that I've had to dive into, just because there's a lot of uncertainty. Most roles, like by the time you get the job, you already know you can do it because you've done the audition. This one, actually, this was also an offer. But um, yeah, but I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm like, oh, I don't know. But yeah, it was such a wonderful experience, and George was such a fun producer to work with. So I'm very, very thankful for that project for sure. Yeah.
yeah, casting director did a fantastic job. She,
Yeah.
but all Asian. Did you do the, like they chose you, a man who's not a family man, who's no, I'm assuming not married, like
I'm married, no kids. No, yeah, I'm the
single,
opposite.
single and available. Okay, but I'm like serious, like you embodied that role and made it really for me to feel it, to know that, and they aged you up heavy with all that hair. So I think that's
That's just my beard.
oh, okay, see, okay, and it was good. I felt really both your chemistry with your actress. Let me get her.
Karina, yeah.
Thank you, Karina. Thank you. She and you had good chemistry, and that's not easy because there's some movies that has I've watched that Asian people didn't have chemistry with each other, and it was good for you guys to
Uh,
have that. So thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, and
and
Karina
it,
is a legend, in her own right. So like, very fortunate to work with her as well. She's wonderful.
oh man. Um, I applaud you guys on accepting a heavy, for the fact that George thought OSRIC can do this, is like amazing. Uh,
Yeah,
for that, well,
give him my best when you have a chat with him.
yeah, I will, I will. One of the things I'll talk about is lastly, is you want to produce your own stories. It's about time. I mean, some other people rush it, but I guess you took your time, but you produced Tabletop Club, which is I saw the sizzle, and I
Hmm.
thought it was well done, produced in terms of cinematography, um, uh, the way director shot it, everything it looked like top of the line, no pun intended, for that, So how long did that shoot go for you?
I mean, well, Tabletop Club is just like a short proof of concept thing. So
Mhm.
that was, it was t- 2 day shoot, two
Wow,
and a
that
half.
was 2 days? Oh my God,
Yeah, I mean, that's a trailer. Like
I know.
I've done 3 movies now,
Oh,
and
sorry. Yeah.
and those take a lot longer. But Tabletop Club was kind of a fun little experiment to, you know, looking into the Canadian system. I've never really done that, but now that I'm in Canada, I'm like, oh, I should probably explore the Canadian system a little bit because for the most part, ignored all the soft money that we have here. Um, but I think it's good to like find the balance. Like, I don't want to rely on the soft money because I want to be able to create projects that stand on their own feet
Mhm.
um, from a financial perspective, but at the same time, I think it's important to be able to leverage the soft money that is available to you.
Yeah, and
Sure.
I heard the Canadians are really supportive of each other in filming. They seem.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of great programs, and our arts funding is pretty robust, so we just need to take advantage of it.
Which one was easier, shooting in America or Canada?
I guess that's a little bit trickier. I think
Loaded question.
I mean it depends on where. Like, being in Vancouver, there's so many perks of shooting in Vancouver. So I will always advocate for shooting in Vancouver, but like Southeast Asia, I think is where I'm going to be putting a lot of my time for the future.
hmm And what stories do you want to say or tell beyond?
Uh, I want to make stories for worldwide audiences. So domestic market in Southeast Asia. So I want to make movies that can do well there and abroad. So I think that's kind of the balance that I'm going to be looking for. But the genre wise, you're looking at action, horror, romantic comedies, and to some extent, like you might go into like
Mm.
the family action adventure stuff, but those are probably going to be a little bit more expensive.
Yeah. Less characters, less locations.
Yeah.
Directing anything in the future?
I would like to, but it depends on finding a good script, whether I find the time to write it myself or someone brings me a script that feels like it, one that I connect with, that I want to tell the story of, and two, if it actually, makes sense on the producing side, like, does this make sense for a project that we can take to the market and, you know,
Mm.
sell for more than we made it for.
Sounds like you have the business side.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, okay. Last is that we always ask the 10 questions, and
Okay.
I hope you're still awake after this. Okay. Helping making you talk this much for us. So, favorite color?
Green.
You said what?
Green.
Okay, I have a hearing problem. I thought you said Korean. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Laksa or dumpling?
Laksa.
Okay. Okay, well, it seemed like you already answered this, but Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
But he's not opposed to Star Wars work.
Of course.
Book or song?
Sorry, say it again.
Book or song?
Oh, book or song.
hmm
Book or song. Book or song. I will say book for me.
And what book would you support right now?
Oh. What book? I'm currently reading a series called The Knights Templar of the Black and White by Jack White. I was just doing a movie in Kelowna, and I bought a book series from a local author.
Wow, that's really helpful to a local bookstore. Streaming or theater?
Uh,
Movie
uh,
theater. So streaming or movie theater, yeah.
Movie theater,
Okay. Classic or hard rock?
Hard Rock.
Yeah. There was a band that you support. They said Google was like, we cannot find any information on OSRIC Chau's music choices, but he does support something loud went Swain.
Oh, Loudon Swain.
And,
One of the actors on Supernatural. He's got a band. Yeah, so of course we support them.
yeah,
Um, I look. I grew up on like late 90s, early 2000s music. So whatever's in the theaters then. Like I was just watching a movie, A Better Man,
Mhm.
which is like the Robbie Williams story. So like all those songs, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's my childhood. Linkin Park,
Mhm.
My Chemical Romance, like that era.
Mm. Okay,
Yeah.
now it's defined. Um, Superpower that you would want to have?
Um, Superpower that I want to have, I would like the ability to understand any and all languages.
You're the second person who said that out of
Like
all the.
fully being able to communicate with any living organism and like true understanding. I think
Oh
that's
my
what I would want.
God. Is that kind of like telepathy or tele
I probably, if Xavier's didn't speak in words and just thoughts and understanding.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xavier's poor guy. A lot of headaches. Poor guy. Okay, mom or dad?
So mom or dad?
Yes.
That's tough. I'll say mom because it's likelier that she listens to this.
No, I think it's great that she even, yeah. Oh, great. We got one listener already. Cool added. What has your parents, when did they accept you as an actor or working actor? Like when you were 13, they're like, oh, great. Now he can pay for his own college fund.
Uh, they, I, this was something that took me a while to understand, but they've always been supportive. I just didn't know it until I was a lot older. They always wanted us to do things that made sense to us. You know, my dad used to tell me, if you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life. That being said,
I love
they
that.
always,
Yeah.
they always encourage a safer path because that's what they understood. But they never got in the way. They never stopped us from trying something different.
Mm.
Yeah, so they're very encouraging. I wish I knew that a little bit earlier on. I gave them a lot of flack for no reason.
Oh, well, you're the kid. Of course, you're going to give them flack.
Yeah.
Last question is three things to bring in a box to escape.
To bring in a box to escape, what do you mean?
Like, if you had to escape anywhere, and they said you have to put it all in a box. I attribute this question to the wildfires that happened to people in January in California, in
Yeah.
Southern California. And I was like, they said put everything in a box, what you really need, and you gotta
Oh, if you were to run, if you ha had to run away from something. Okay, I see what you're saying.
yeah, context.
Yeah, if you're, I mean, probably my laptop first and foremost, because I do everything out of that.
Hmm.
Uh, my phone, and then any other living creature in the house. I don't have very many possessions. I'm not very,
Minimalist, huh?
yeah, very much so. Like I've moved several times, and every time I've almost like left everything that I've owned at the place, and then
Mhm.
I forgot about it.
How
Because I
funny.
just don't need anything. So like clothes,
Uh,
with watches, whatever. I just don't really have things that I care that much about.
oh, well, that's useful because I'm sure nieces and nephews will love that when they get that from you.
Hopefully.
Here it is, Uncle Osric is giving you these watches.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you for giving us the time for OG YOK. It used to be a magazine 30 years ago. Definitely, maybe I'm thinking 30 years. Yeah, I stopped counting after 50. So like in terms of like you were so young. So we wish we had the magazine so that we can put you on the cover like that because it's like you're one of the hardest working actors out there. And and oh yeah, I forgot to ask you because of the way you look. How long did you start like saying, "Oh, stop casting me for the high school roles," or do you love it?
No, I definitely prefer playing adults. There was a time where I'm just like I know I can play high school, but I just don't want to. At a certain point, you just even as an actor, you stop maturing because you're just always in this high school mentality. It's a little bit weird. And I didn't even realize it until there's this one time where we run around, like everyone's introducing themselves. It was on a playground, and I realized that I was by far the oldest because everyone was like, "Oh, I'm 15, I'm 16," and then it got to me, and I'm like, "Holy shit, I'm in my 30s." I'm like, "I'm going to the bathroom, and I'm
Yeah.
never playing high school again. This is too weird."
Yeah, it's one of my actor friends. I told him, don't worry, just take the roles now, and then you worry about that other, graduating high school, 20 years from now. Don't worry. It's jobs, and then when you have the choice like you do to refuse it, then you can do it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I find that because you have this youthful look for like 4 decades or whatever, and you probably get carded for another 20.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Depends if I grow my beard or not.
Oh yeah, that's right, your beard. But then they just think you're just trying to look older. Then they know for sure they gotta card you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you to Tim Kwok who also connected me with OSRIC. Thank you very much for Tim Kwok. And thank you, OSRIC Chow, and have a wonderful weekend. And thank you for doing this on a Saturday. That's very gracious of
yeah, thank
you.
thank you for your patience. I know it's been, we've been trying to do this for a while. So thank you for your patience on it.
Uh, Thank you to Team OG Yoke and editors CJ Bautista and Campbell Moon Jang. Thank you for all of us to watch all those shows you have. Now we have more to choose from, and I look forward to more of your work.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Summer.
Stay tuned for the next episode. Pop the yolk and spread the love. Yolk is back.